Hey guys, it's Mommy, and welcome to the MS Diaries. I'm not sure what episode we're up to. Episode 3 or episode 4? So when last we talked, I had my first Rituximab infusion. That was August 6th of 2014. For a while, I felt awful. And then I kept getting colds and viruses that wouldn't go away. So that was like August, September, October. November-ish, I started to feel a little bit better. I felt really good for December, I believe. January was pretty good. Beginning of February, I was sort of okay. And then it all started to go downhill. So I'm recording this on May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And so, yeah, by the end of February, I was thinking, hey, oh, gee, it's probably time to infuse again. And so I had the blood work and stuff, and they were like, no, your blood says it's not time yet. And I was like, okay, but I'm really starting to feel crappy. So as we got into March, I started to have a symptom increase and sort of newer symptoms, and I started to have an attack. The fatigue has been killer since, I had like probably two and a half months where the fatigue was its normal, manageable kind of. I get 5 to 7 good hours a day. I don't need to take any medication to combat the fatigue. I had like two months or so of that. And then it went back to, okay, I need to take some medication, if I have to do things. And then it became like the fatigue that doesn't respond to any kind of medication, where you're like, you're hitting the bottle, like is this thing on? So that's been more and more and more. But so yeah, in March I had a small flare, which we addressed right away because I didn't want to let it continue. The numbness in my left hand became worse, and my right hand started to become way worse. Started having some confusion with my left leg, like walking downstairs. It just, if you have MS, like what this is. If you don't, you're like, what? But your limbs just get confused. Like things that you normally know how to do, like walking down a flight of stairs one foot after the other, my left leg couldn't quite figure it out. So I had to sort of do right leg all the way down the stairs. Stuff like that. My feet became, the neuropathy in my feet became more painful. The numbness and pain, that's another great MS thing. I have both numbness and pain in my feet at the same time. But the pain was just like really. And then I started to have, I had a new area of spasticity in my left buttocks. So I had a permanent Charlie horse for weeks in my left buttock. That was special. And, I tried stretching and rolling on the tennis ball and all the things, when you're trying to work out an area of spasticity, but it just wouldn't stay. It was, it was getting the message to clench, and that muscle was just gonna keep doing this no matter what we said. So they did my brain MRI, and there was no new activity, which was good. So there were no new lesions. Nothing was enhancing. But by the way, I have makeup on my hand from a previous video. One of my lesions that's been hanging around for a while had grown a little bit. And they do that from time to time. Sometimes they grow, sometimes they shrink, sometimes they disappear entirely. But there was nothing new and nothing was enhancing. So my brain MRI didn't show anything, but they didn't do an MRI of my my cervical and thoracic spine. And the majority of my damage is actually in my cervical spine. And given that my hands were so bad, I kind of wish they would do those, but they just, the insurance company, blah, 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 whatever. So they were basically like, look, we don't see anything on your brain MRI, but your symptoms are indicating that there's inflammation somewhere. So let's throw you on the steroids. But your blood work says it's not time to reinfuse with Rituximab. So I was like, okay, so I can have an attack on Rituximab? Wasn't the point of Rituximab I never had an attack on Tysabri, people. So, we did the steroids, and, I felt like I was dying for a while, and then I felt okay. Then, I had that week of feeling like, yeah. And then, I probably got a couple of good weeks out of the steroids, and then it all started to dip again. I will say that as far as the additional symptoms, that the steroids did get those under control. So my left leg is, not stupid. The neuropathy is back to its normal level of crappiness. And I don't feel like there's any new damage. And the Charlie horse in my buttock is gone. Yay! But I really feel awful. I just overall feel awful, and the cog fog, the brain fog is, I'm like thinking through pea soup. So in the meantime, my neurologist, my MS specialist at Cornell in New York, has started the process back in March, actually, of getting the approval for my next Rituximab infusion, so that when my blood work is ready, we can pull the trigger and go. So my insurance is denying Rituximab, and we've been reapplying and doing all different things. And in the meantime, while I was at TTPM, which is a toy show last week, I checked my email in the middle of, because I'm like an addict with my phone, and I had a message from my neurologist, my MS specialist in New York. And she said, since your insurance is proving to be very difficult in approving another course of Rituximab, and you continue to not feel well on Rituximab, despite the fact that, it doesn't really appear that you had an attack based on your MRI. Your blood work still says that it's not time to reinfuse with Rituximab. I would like to suggest, I would like to recommend Lemtrada, which Lemtrada was just approved in November of 2014. Now, I had been following Lemtrada before I ever heard of Rituximab, actually. It was available in Europe for a very long time as Campath. And it's chemo. It's 5 days of chemotherapy infusion, and it's at a different level for MS than it is for what they use for cancer patients. And basically, the way Lemtrada works is it just kills off your immune system. It doesn't just do B cells or T cells, it just... And what it then does is it allows your body to reboot the rebuilding of immune cells in your bone marrow. Like, your bone marrow is constantly replacing immune cells. The idea here is that by killing off all the existing cells in your body, the immune cells, not all the cells, because then I'd be like dust, right? Then when your bone marrow produces new immune cells, the new immune cells won't be stupid, and they won't be MS cells. They won't go and attack your myelin and your brain and your spinal cord. That's the theory behind Campath, or Lemtrada as it is now known in the United States. So it was approved in November of 2014, and it turns out that that's why my insurance will no longer approve Rituximab, because there is now another monoclonal antibody, blah, 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 that is approved for MS, while Rituximab is off-label for MS. The funny thing is that Lemtrada is actually significantly more expensive than Rituximab, but the insurance company will pay for it because it's approved for MS, and Rituximab isn't. Yes. So the insurance company is helping to make a decision for me. So at first I was, I've gone through the stages of grief over this one, but not as badly as I went when I had to get off of Tysabri, because Tysabri for me was a miracle drug. I miss my Tysabri every day, especially days like today. Now, I'm all made up, and I filmed a makeup video because, I don't feel as awesome as I would like to. Not that I ever feel really awesome anymore. I think MS gives you a new definition of awesome. But I also believe that if I have the energy that I should put on makeup and that I should live my life and I should do things like film videos and do things with Gracie, because I'm not willing to give up my life and sit on the couch or lie in the bed all the time. I reserve that for when I have no choice. So today I'm tired, my body aches, I'm a little confused, I'm kind of depressed, but I don't feel like a corpse entirely. I feel like half a corpse. And so I'm putting on my makeup. I'm making myself pretty, filming some videos. I'll go hang out with my daughter and film some videos, and because I'm not going to let MS steal my life. And after reading a lot about Lemtrada, and there's a number of blogs, which I'm going to link below, from some people who've been on it for a really long time, I'm over grieving about Rituximab, which was a drug that probably didn't work for me. I failed yet another disease-modifying drug, and I am ready to embrace Lemtrada. So now I'm pushing my doctors, like, how soon can you do this? Because one of the things is, because it is chemo and it's going to destroy my immune system, I'm going to have to be on like a 6-week or so kind of avoiding people kind of thing. And I have VidCon and BronyCon to go to this summer, and I want to enjoy my summer. So ideally, I need to get infused with Lemtrada like this month or like the beginning of June. So yeah, so now I'm leaning on my doctors. I'm like, are you certified? Where can I go get this? Because I don't want to do it in New York because I have to do it for 5 days. And 5 days of going back and forth to New York is not my idea of a good time, but if it's the only way to do it, it's the way I'm going to do it. And, you know, people have called this a cure. I'm always hesitant to use the word cure when it comes to MS, but all of the studies and the years of people that have been on it have shown that for the majority of people, it stops MS in its tracks, and to some extent it can reverse some of the damage. I've read that it's better, that Lemtrada, although it's a third-line drug in America, which means you have to fail 2 DMTs before you can even get it. I've failed like, what, 5, 6 now? I'm a failure, yay! It actually is most successful for people if it catches them early on in the disease, before a lot of their damage has become permanent. So I'm not going to get too excited that things like my hands and my feet are going to repair themselves, because those have been, that damage has been there for, 5 years now. I mean, that's dead axons. So I'm not going to get all excited about that. I am excited that a lot of the people on it are living a life without fatigue. And I can't even imagine, like, I'm actually slightly afraid to even imagine what it would be like to not let fatigue run my life. So I'm kind of excited, and I'm really hoping that anyone who's on Lemtrada will find this video on YouTube and comment below on their experiences. And if anyone who's been on Rituximab and has kind of had it completely fail, I'd also like to know that. And, for everybody out there who's battling MS, I'm with you. It's a never-ending thing, but it's funny because the one guy whose blog I've been reading, it's like, 5 years out, he was kind of like, MS it's not even a part of my life anymore. It's almost like it never happened. I can't even imagine that. So we'll see what happens. And I will keep you guys posted. When I'm able to get the Lemtrada infusions, I will do what I did with Rituximab, and I will vlog the experience. 5 days of chemo goodness, yay! So thank you again for your support. I hope everybody who's out there who's living a life with MS is finding a way to live your life with MS. Don't let it steal your life, because it doesn't deserve it. You deserve better than that. And until I see you next time, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye.